Greetings and Happy New Year, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, and I figured I would kick off the new year with the best of last year. This last year was a little bit rough on old nerd scum, and I had a lot going on, so I didn't really get to see as many movies as I would have liked to, but having said that, these are my top 5 picks for the best movies of 2022. Now, there might be a few spoilers here and there, but nothing big and nothing specific. Now, you might also disagree with me on my list. Fucking good! That means you're thinking for yourself. And, also the thing I said about not seeing very many movies, and you probably saw a bunch of movies I didn't see, and in those, there's probably some movies that are better than some of the movies that are on my list, so let me know down in the comments below, what were your top picks of 2022? So, without any further ado, here we go. Starting us off at number 5, we have Crimes of the Future. Humans adapt to a synthetic environment with new transformations and mutations. Saul Tenser is a celebrity performance artist who publicly showcases the metamorphosis of his organs in avant-garde performances. But the nature of the ever-changing world closes in, pulling Saul deeper into a mystery and conspiracy that he must adapt to in order to survive. Rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 47 minutes. The film is written and directed by David Cronenberg, starring Viggo Mortensen, Léa Seydoux, Kristen Stewart, and Scott Speedman. Crimes of the Future is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely fucked up and beautiful. It possesses a certain elusive, grounded abstraction that allows the movie to be both alienating and engaging. This is something that Cronenberg has implemented a few times before, but never executed quite this well. The cinematography is gorgeously grim. Strong performances throughout from the cast that really seem to understand the balance of existential dread, introspective wonder, and dark humor necessary for the tone of the film to work properly. It could be said that the political commentary in the film definitely has something specific to say. However, following the classic science fiction style, Cronenberg creates an allegorical cipher through which you can interpret any number of periods of significant change throughout human history into his narrative. All in all, the film is flawed, but ultimately fantastic, and a gloriously triumphant return to science fiction for David Cronenberg.
Into the heart of darkness.
Coming in at the number 4 position and pissing a lot of people off is The Batman. When a sadistic killer calling himself the Riddler begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, leaving behind a cryptic trail of clues, Batman is forced to follow the trail of corruption into Gotham's seedy underworld. As the pieces begin to come together and the scale of the Riddler's plan becomes clear, Batman will have to become more than just the vengeance of his city if he wishes to save Gotham. Rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 56 minutes, the film is directed by Matt Reeves and written by Matt Reeves and Peter Krieg. Starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright, Paul Dano, John Turturro, and Andy Serkis. While I'm not as big a fan of this film as some others are, I nonetheless have to say that it is quite good, and any flaws that it has are far outweighed by its achievements. Stylistically, the film excels in creating a world that looks, feels, and sounds unclean, dangerous, and overbearing. The performances are strong, with all of the cast members either embodying the spirit of their characters perfectly, or creating interesting new derivations thereof. While the aesthetics of the film stay firmly grounded in the realms that we've come to expect from cinematic Batman outings, the narrative ventures to give us something a bit different and more or less succeeds. This is the first live-action film to give us an in-depth look at Batman as a detective, which as a comic book fan is something I can say has definitely been sorely lacking. But more importantly, this movie sees Batman realizing that vengeance is not enough to save Gotham City, and becoming the true hero that it needs. At the end of the day, this is not the story that sees Bruce Wayne become Batman, but sees Batman become the icon and symbol that we all know him to be. And in that attempt, this film excels greatly. And for that alone, people are absolutely correct when they say that this is the best live-action Batman film that we have ever gotten.
Fear is a tool. When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
Sneaking up into the third placement, we have Prey. Set in the Comanche Nation 300 years ago, Naru, a highly skilled but untested warrior, fights to protect her tribe against one of the first highly evolved alien predators with a technologically advanced arsenal to hunt here on Earth. The film is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 40 minutes. Directed by Dan Trachtenberg and written by Dan Trachtenberg and Patrick Asen. The film stars Amber Midthunder, Dakota Beavers, and Dane DeLargo. Now, this film has gotten a fair amount of flack, and while it's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, most of the criticisms against it are about 90% bullshit. The film does a great job of following the Predator formula, and only subverting it when there is clear gains to be made. The main character and her culture are quickly and expertly established, along with establishing aspects of their hunter-warrior class that parallel much of what we know of Predator culture. This not only enriches our main character, giving her more depth, but also sets her on a path to a common goal with the Predator itself. Not just survival, but the honor and prestige amongst their people that comes with surviving. And by putting the Predator and our lead character on the same path fighting for the same goal, it makes them truer adversaries than we have ever established before. And that goes a long way in making this an engaging film, but if that's not enough, the cinematography is absolutely beautiful, easily one of the best looking films in the franchise, if not the best. The action, while it sometimes leans a little too heavy on the modern superhero style, it was nevertheless entertaining throughout. The score is fully immersive, cutting to the heart of every scene and every sequence. And of course, the Predator itself is absolutely badass. A nice play on variations and different designs that we've seen, with a lot of new, or in this case, older tech that is just being established. The creature comes across intimidating on multiple levels and takes more physical damage and keeps on going than any Predator who we have ever seen in one of these movies. The thing is an absolute beast, and this movie is absolutely dope.
I can kill it.
And growing forth like a monolith from the very ground into position number 2, we have Mad God. Equipped with a gas mask and a crumbling map, the assassin, an ironclad humanoid, travels through a nightmarish underworld of tortured souls, ruined cities, and wretched monstrosities, through the labyrinthine post-apocalyptic wasteland on a mysterious mission, going deeper and deeper to the heart of this grotesque realm of the Mad God. Mad God is unrated with a runtime of 1 hour and 23 minutes. Written and directed by Phil Tippett, starring Alex Cox and the amazing stop-motion animation of Phil Tippett. Phil Tippett's Mad God is a masterpiece of grotesque beauty. Not a narrative film by any stretch of the imagination, but a gut-wrenching deep dive into the most shadowy recesses of surrealism and expressionism. In terms of what little narrative there is, this is very much a time is a flat circle, not a straight line, cyclical, temporal loops type situation. With most of the true narrative developments being backloaded, it would be a disservice to any of you who have not seen it for me to dive into those elements. Sure, there are definitely criticisms to be made, but they are all based on contemporary models which this film at no point attempts to adhere to, making the majority of the criticisms moot in the grand scheme of what this film is trying to achieve. Mad God is not a film for everyone, but if you're that special kind of weirdo like me, who loves both high-concept art films as well as gory, disgusting hellscape cinema, then Mad God is the only film for you from 2022. And here we are coming up on the home stretch to the first position, the number 1 pick of 2022. But first, let's take a look at a couple of honorable mentions, why don't we? For this year's honorable mentions, I have 2 picks that are both very good films on their own, but just didn't quite make it into the top 5. First up is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This movie is exactly what you think it is, Nicolas Cage the movie, and in that sense, it is a lot of fun and super entertaining. But unfortunately, going metatextual Ouroboros on your movie can only get you so far unless you're going to go the full-blown Charlie Kaufman adaptation on it. And for the second pick is the most recent film on this list that I've seen, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This is a really entertaining movie that I emotionally connected to, but it has a lot of the same problems as the first film, and despite the great ensemble cast, none of them have the standout charisma of Chadwick Boseman in the first film, though I will give them massive points for fixing the character of Riri Williams and actually making her cool, as well as keeping the Black Panther lineage going strong in cinematic form. And now, back to the number one spot. And the Nerd Scum pick for the number one best film of 2022, at least out of the films that I saw, is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
This is Wang. This is Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us? I am paying attention.
Evelyn Wang, an aging Chinese immigrant with her laundromat teetering on the brink of failure, her marriage to a wimpy husband on the rocks, and the rift between her and her daughter ever widening, struggles to cope with everything. But in this maelstrom of life, an inexplicable multiversal rift becomes an eye-opening exploration of parallel realities, and Evelyn is swept away in an insane adventure in which she alone can save the world by exploring other universes, connecting with the lives she could have led. Everything Everywhere All at Once is rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 19 minutes. The film is written and directed by Dan Kwan and Dan Scheinert, starring Michelle Yeoh, Stephanie Hsu, Ke-Huy Quan, Jamie Lee Curtis, and James Hong. And apologies for my absolute butchering of some of those names. This film appropriately on its surface seems to be about everything all at the same time, but despite being a multiversal romp, this film is extremely grounded in its characters' wants, needs, behaviors, and overall emotional essence, with all the multiversal shenanigans acting more as impressionistic aspects or juxtaposition to the characters' emotional and narrative states of being. The initial characters, as established while having a fair amount of comedy surrounding them, feel very much like real people, each concealing a bottomless well of sadness that they cover with faint smiles and daily routines. And this gives us, the audience, license to go along with and enjoy all of the absurd and ridiculous offshoots of their reality. The cinematography is fantastic, taking the ordinary and turning it extraordinary, sometimes within the exact same frame. The performances all around are extremely solid. The sound design and other post-production aspects are excellently executed. From top to bottom, this is an amazing film, but it made the top pick of this list for just one main reason. This film creates the most beautiful sense of cognitive dissonance I have ever experienced cinematically. Because of the way that the narrative flows and intersects and crosses over with the character's development, and the jumping of universes, all of which have their own unique and visceral impact, allows for a multitude of moments when watching this film where you are capable of holding multiple emotions, multiple contradictory points of view, and multiple expressions of the perception of these elements all simultaneously, all of which culminates in a climax that puts you in exactly the position that the title of the movie suggests. You feel everything, everywhere, all at once. And it is a beautiful cinematic experience. And if that's too artsy-fartsy, highfalutin, philosophical, analytical for you, when's the last time you can honestly say that you saw a movie where one of the best scenes was when two characters turned into rocks and had heart-to-heart? And that's the same movie where a woman beats multiple armed men to death with giant frickin' dildos. And the same movie where an everything bagel is like threatening to swallow the universe. Whether you're looking at this from just a purely visceral movie-going experience or a super cerebral movie-going experience, this is the best film of the year.
There is no way I am the Evelyn you are looking for. Every rejection, every disappointment has led you here. To this moment. Don't let anything distract you from it.
And there you have it, children of the screen, my top 5 picks for the best films that I saw in 2022. But as I said, there's a lot of movies that I did not see, and I cannot wait to hear down in the comments below what y'all's favorite movies of the year were, as well as all the comments about how insane I am for the picks that I made. But anyway, thank you very much, children of the screen. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then please smash that like button, share the video with some friends, and subscribe to the channel so that you can check out all the future content from me, the Nerd Scum. Have a great new year, children of the screen. Nerd Scum. Out.